So in a way, to be dropped up there of a Sunday evening and outside this big mansion and meeting George, who's like the Lord of the Manor, and then you're brought up here into one of the great sites of not only Ireland but the world, and you're given a trowel by George and you're told you start excavating there, and your first reaction is just fear and trepidation. What do I do with this thing? Because I hadn't excavated before. I just about knew where I was, you know, but what I was supposed to do. I'd read about it in books, I thought about it, I dreamt about doing this kind of stuff, but when you're given this implement in your hand, the first thing you do is fear. So I said, you clean up that area there, and I just I started excavating, troweling, and I think Heather King was put in beside me. Did you talk to Heather since you were here? And Heather was put in. She's starting digging around the same time. She went in and she quickly realised that I didn't know what I was doing, and I probably was doing more harm than good. So she asked George for a transfer to some other trench, and I think I was left alone for a while till they find something that I could do that would be the least destructive option for deployment, you know, on the site. I enjoyed then 3 weeks of glorious weather here, digging and learning how to excavate, learning how to record. The whole planning and drawing and the detail of the record that was kept was extraordinary. That's one of the things that stands out, and getting first-hand knowledge of that. And every day at lunchtime there'd be a seminar, a debate about material that was on the had been excavated, or it could be about whether they were dealing with beaker or whether it was grooved ware, or whether it was something like that where I didn't participate. I just observed and enjoyed it. And then I remember some great characters coming to Knowth. I remember Stuart Piggott coming. He was one of the great prehistorians from Cambridge in the UK, and he came over. I remember there was a great fuss that he was arriving and he was going to look at stuff and have some ideas to contribute. So I just seen him from books again and from things I'd read, and he was on the syllabus in the course. So it was extraordinary to see this man, the flesh. And I remember my father had a book by Stuart Piggott at home, one of the Penguin series of paperbacks, and his picture's on the cover, and I just had this memory of his face sort of clearly etched in my mind, and then he arrives in sight. And I remember David Green, who was a great scholar of Old Irish and worked out at Trinity College, and David Green was coming, and he was a great man. He'd actually done, from the historical sources, tried to reconstruct what an early Irish chariot would have looked like, and this was his claim to some connection with archaeology. He was a scholar of language and literature, and he had a great beard down to his tummy, and he was a big portly man at that stage in his career, and nothing for it. I think George and Fiona decided that the only thing for him was salmon from the Boyne, and it was a Friday night, I think, and a lot of people had scattered back to Dublin and places, and it was my first week there, so I stayed on the Friday night, and I was invited to partake in the Friday night dinner. I remember that, and I remember it'd been a week and I was probably tired and a bit overawed by everything. I remember coming down, and as I passed George in the corridor or on my way into the kitchen, he says, "Oh, I see you didn't shave," he said. So so I said, and I was only a teenager at the time, what the hell, I didn't realise I had to shave. But anyway, and then I walked into the room, and lo and behold, it was David Green with the beard down to here. So I think that was George's humour, you know, so you had to be ready for that and prepared for it. You didn't know what was going to come at you. So they were two of the great characters who came to the site in the time I was there.